Good evening, folks. This is Atmospheric Alex here with yet another update on now historic Hurricane Milton that is currently all day been breaking rapid to explosive intensification records. And as you can see by the thumbnail, I'm not messing around this time. This is a very serious situation here, and you need to listen up very closely. So here is your current zoomed in satellite imagery on now Violent Hurricane Milton as it moves across the southwestern Gulf right now and is currently just going to be going off to the north of the Yucatan Peninsula. And it's going to be going so far off to the north to where it will not be disturbed at all like we were previously thinking was a possibility. Now I'm going to take you all in on a really zoomed in view on Milton's eye right here. And just tell me that thing is not a beast, because it is. Look at that. Jeez. Lord have mercy. This is something you don't usually see in the Gulf. This is upwards of 180 miles an hour now. You can see the gravity waves emanating out of it. It's like a nuclear bomb with, your shock waves just constantly going off. I genuinely have no idea what to say at this point. It takes me a lot to render me speechless. In a situation like this, you need to take this very, very seriously. So now we are currently taking a look at our cone of uncertainty for Milton. And like I just said, does now have maximum sustained winds of 180 miles an hour and a pressure, while it's not explicitly shown, down to 905 millibars. And this is probably getting below 900 now, which is exceptionally rare for the Atlantic Basin. We are seeing due easterly movement at 10, so this will not go into the Yucatan. This is very bad. This was our only saving grace from this thing to potentially weaken well before Florida and mess it up. We're not seeing that anymore, are we? We're talking about hurricane warnings going ridiculously well inland across the entirety of Central Florida. As a matter of fact, about 70 to 80% of the state of Florida is under hurricane-related warnings or watches, while almost the rest of the entire state is under tropical storm warnings or watches here. And to make matters about 5 times worse, this is expected to make a landfall in the city of Tampa as a potentially Category 4 hurricane. And it could even be stronger now that we're seeing the true limits of this system. And a stack on all that looks like a potential nighttime landfall. Folks, please take this seriously. We're now going to look at our peak storm surge forecast. And there's honestly not much left I can say without sounding like a fearmonger. And I'm not fearmongering. This is from the National Hurricane Center. We're forecasting 10 to 15, maybe more than 15 feet of storm surge going straight through Tampa Bay. 6 to 10 feet down here, Punta Gorda, Charlotte Harbor. Remember Ian? Yeah, we're going to do that again, possibly, through storm surge. A lot of areas along Florida, and I'm going to name this off. Indian Pass to Suwannee River, 1 to 3 feet, not too bad. Suwannee River to Yankeetown, 3 to 5 feet, a little worse. Yankeetown to Antelope River, 5 to 10 feet, that is significant. Tampa Bay, all the way down to Englewood, 10 to 15 plus feet. That is exceptional. Englewood to Bonita Beach in Punta Gorda as well, Charlotte Harbor, 6 to 10 feet. That's also very significant. Bonita Beach down to Chokoloskee, 4 to 7 feet. That's going to do damage as well. And, you go further south as well. And especially in these areas with 10 to 15 foot storm surge, if you're not preparing already, it's basically almost too late at this point. I would highly recommend that you evacuate now. Don't wait. You got to go. I could only imagine living there right now and thinking to myself, I'm going to ride this out. You're not. You're not going to. Especially if you're right along the bay. You're not going to. Now let's take a look at your maximum storm surge interactive forecast. This is gut-wrenching. All these areas that you see in the reds, that is over 9 feet of storm surge. Almost the entire bay is just going to be a nightmare. Areas along these keys here, I know some towns, they could end up getting wiped off the map. And I'm not saying this lightly either. This storm is going to be historic in every way possible, and I hate saying that word. But you can even see some areas in the deeper reds. And this map is taking forever. There's been websites that have been down a lot today. It's been horrible. Talking about a small sliver, but somewhat of a sliver of your metro area. Downtown Tampa. Metro area of Tampa will be seeing storm surge along the rivers and, like I said, in downtown. Okay? Town and country. You're totally underwater, over 10 feet of storm surge. Had some stuff near Oldsmar. These areas here, if you're here, well, it's not looking too good. Feather Sound, completely underwater. So many areas here. This is, I think, near Gandy here, and that's just underwater at that point. Gibsonton, Garden City, Apollo Beach, Ruskin. This actually goes a little further inland than the other map did the other day, because we weren't supposed to see it this bad. Lost River, Preserve, Piney Point. The list goes on. Bradenton Beach, Holmes Beach. Sarasota. This area, yeah, this could also be very serious. If only it was just one area. Port Charlotte, underwater. Punta Gorda, oh my gosh. That's over 10 feet of storm surge. This inlet here, completely underwater, look at that. That's very sharp too, that contrast there. Placida as well. You got Englewood. Just take a look at this, just everywhere. Downtown Cape Coral. Yes, downtown Cape Coral. Could be underwater. Oh, goodness. Cypress Lake, Iona, St. James City. This is just flat out historic. Keep going further south, I guess. Your worst case scenario is big time with this. Remember that Surging Seas map that I showed you all yesterday as well? There's even the potential for absolutely all of this to go underwater. Even areas well inland is not the storm to be messing around with. Brings me to the intensity guidance. And I've never seen this before. I think it's safe to say that nobody has ever seen this before in their life. We're talking a peak intensity of around 160 to maybe even upwards or even over 170 knots. So probably a peak around 185 to 190 miles an hour is expected, as this does continue to intensify under prime conditions. When Milton nears landfall, now 60 hours out, we are still expecting this to be a Category 4 hurricane. There's even the slight chance that maybe the wind shear doesn't get to it as fast, and it could even be a Category 5. And you should be preparing for a Category 5. AKA, evacuate immediately. So let's see what your hurricane models show. That did not initialize well, and it's not the model's fault, it's Milton's fault for becoming so intense. So as we look through time, this goes just to the north of Yucatan, doesn't actually hit it at all. You could just see the intensity here as it approaches Tampa Bay. Talking about a Category 4 and your winds funneling up the bay over here. This is insane. Also talking about potentially a tornado outbreak inland as well in Florida, like Orlando. So let's just kind of add more cause for concern with this system, right? Because as wind shear interacts, there will be a massive tornado risk with this. And that's just well shown. Because your half-say model, again, initialized 18 millibars high. This was one of your more aggressive models, not the most, but your second most. And it explodes overnight. What does this mean now? The intensity is 905 millibars as we stand. So, what does it mean if it explodes again tonight? That's a question, isn't it? That's something to think about. We're probably going to dip below 900 millibars with this thing. But you can see, by tomorrow morning, we're still hovering around 906. This will likely be much lower. And here you go. So we are currently 27 hours ahead of schedule. 27, maybe even closer to 30 hours, because it's probably more intense now. This is a dangerous, formidable, life-threatening situation. And this quickly moves towards Tampa Bay. 928 millibars on approach. And your wind shear tries to do a number, but the number isn't big enough. Significant storm surge, once again, funneling up into Tampa. This shows a direct landfall slicing through Tampa Bay as a Category 3 to 4 hurricane. I think this is still too weak, to be honest. We haven't realized the theoretical maximum at play right now. The models haven't. The 18Z mile runs will likely be total nightmare fuel, but at least that'll urge people to evacuate a lot easier. Here's your halves B model. Oh no. Oh no. This initialized perfectly. This model was laughed at by a lot of people, including me. There was no way that Milton would get this intense. This model's been insanely accurate so far. It wasn't supposed to be. This continues. 897 millibars in an hour or so. I personally think that is happening right now as we speak. 897, folks. Then we get, looks like an eyewall replacement cycle that begins around later tonight, which is perfect, because that looks like it might happen. This model is insanely accurate right now. What on earth? And you can see there's your eyewall replacement cycle, and then it gets going. Down to 884 millibars. This is not unrealistic at this point, and this is on Wednesday morning. Guys, this thing, Milton, has an entire 36 hours of strengthening to go. 36 hours. That's... I can't put that into words. And this model rapidly weakens. That's not going to happen. In fact, probably going to be landfalling low 940s, upper 930s. This would still bring insane storm surge, though. Your low-end scenarios are still deadly. I can't think of any other word to use there. Just that's what it is. I want to show you this wind maximum as well. 175 knots. That's about 200 miles an hour. Ladies and gentlemen, we have quite the situation on our hands, don't we? Alright, and with that being said, thank you all so much for watching today's video. I know I may have sounded a little bit nervous about this, and to tell you the truth, I am. Hope I'm not causing panic. I just want you all to be safe. If that means evacuating, well, then you're going to have to. This storm is nothing to mess around with. And this could definitely be the most destructive hurricane of the entire hurricane season we've seen. Most likely for Florida standards at this point. Even then, this is impacting 2 or even more large cities. That's insane. To give you one last look at Milton on satellite imagery, it's like a buzzsaw right now. I mean, look at it down here swirling. If you did enjoy the video, please like it, because it helps YouTube's algorithm get this out to more people who might not know about this, who may only have hours to evacuate before it's too late. And feel free to share this on social media as well, and friends and family. I'd greatly appreciate it. And with that said, have a wonderful night. Don't lose any sleep over this. Everything will be fine. You just gotta prepare. Even if that means evacuating, which you should be doing right now. Alright? I'll see you all in tomorrow's video.